Ford Motor announced last week that it'll lose $3 billion on electric vehicles this year. Welcome to the unsustainable folly of modern socialism. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The news that Ford Motor will lose $3 billion in 2023 on its electric vehicle business underscores the astonishing foolishness of the Biden administration's relentless push to undermine traditional free enterprise in America and replace it with a government-dominated economy. The Bidenites are hardly alone in their push for modern socialism. Europe, Britain, and numerous other nations have long been moving in a similar direction. Modern socialists realize they can control the economy not by formally nationalizing companies, but rather by regulation. The operations of the auto industry have for decades been warped by fuel mileage standards that had manufacturers turning out a lot of vehicles no one really wanted to buy in order to meet arbitrary fleet standards. Now the industry has been pressured to go whole hog to turn out a class of automobiles and trucks most people don't want. Electric vehicles, EVs. Worse, manufacturers have been pressured into promising to put the internal combustion engine on the way to the Smithsonian Museum. They promise that sometime in the next decade, they'll no longer turn out vehicles fueled by gasoline and diesel oil. States like California are decreeing such a ban by the mid-2030s. The credible evidence that junking the internal combustion engine will save the planet is non-existent. The massive, environmentally catastrophic mining necessary to replace fossil fuels, not to mention the cost, fatally undermines the case for mandatory EVs. Also undercutting the rationale for this push is the horrendous recycling problems that will be coming from so-called renewable energy sources, starting with those 1,000-pound batteries and those hundreds of thousands of tons of non-recyclable plastics from wind farms. Ford Motor bravely proclaims that EVs will turn the corner in a few years. That assumes more and more customers will be ditching their traditional cars. The fact is, they won't, unless forced to. Never before in history has a large industry undergone such a profound transformation as being pursued in auto manufacturing without a big, obvious, and customer-friendly technological reason for doing so. That's manifestly not the case here. Otherwise, you wouldn't need hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in subsidies and tax credits and future laws forcing people to buy what they don't want, and at higher prices. The modern auto era really came into its own in the 1920s. Sales mushroomed without government mandates and subsidies. Filling stations were invented, and thousands were quickly constructed without government mandates or subsidies. By contrast, the whole infrastructure of EVs is dependent on mandates and subsidies. What's happening to autos is a lethal coupling of commerce and big government. And autos are not alone, as chip makers, banks, and others are discovering. For our future well-being, modern socialism must be recognized for what it is and resisted fiercely. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions, and I look forward to being with you soon again.